You can definitely see the financial futures market becoming more flexible and rich, and really being able to tailor things in a highly standardized way, but in a more configurable way, and packaging products together. The over-the-counter markets have become much more standardized, much more digitized. I'm the CEO of MarkitSERV, which is a major processing engine for the interest rate swap markets and the credit markets and the equities markets and the foreign exchange markets. So we've done a very good job as an industry digitizing over-the-counter and standardizing it. We've done a very good job as an industry creating more flexible listed products and futures. So I just think it's an evolution that is walking in. The gap is still there. Maybe there's always supposed to be a gap because maybe these products just serve a different purpose. But the gap, that gap of polarization in the last 5 years after the Dodd-Frank moment and the implementation really seems to be closing, which is a very positive thing for all of us. Some things should just be digital because it's better. But some market environments are not as healthy for a fully electronic market, and some instruments. So when people talk digital or electronic, they tend to talk about a trade going from front to back and the entire process being electronified. Some parts should, some parts shouldn't. If the market environment changes, you may want options that are not as electronic or digital because maybe people need to speak to each other to get comfortable to put that much liquidity in the market. Futures market have upstairs markets for reasons on large block trades. OTC markets exist for a reason. Sometimes it is just better to be on the phone to get big positions moved, or it's just when things are fast and volatile, it's just more comfortable to do things that way versus just put a price out there and have somebody take it. Clearly in the consumer space, we are struggling with the idea of relationships versus a digital connection. I heard a statistic that 20 years ago, people had on average 3.7 close relationships in their life, and now they have 1.7. So while people are wildly more connected with people, they have very few people they trust because they're really not real relationships, they're just digital connections. I could argue that's an analogy for market making. Sometimes you really need to have a relationship with someone to provide the service. And just because you're digital and electronic doesn't mean you don't have a personal relationship and you want to actually know that that's the person trading with you or that's the size that they're looking to do in the market. And I came into this industry 25 years ago and I went to the office to have the most modern technology, the fax machine, the CC mail, the Pentium chip, the laser printer, the Palm Pilot, the BlackBerry. I had all of these things through the early 90s. I had amazing technology when I went to work, and I'd go home and I'd have my 28.8 dial-up modem with a relatively slow machine and no other technology in my life. Now, 25 years later, we're still sort of living in that world in our markets. We're still on email, we're still pinned to the desk, we're not mobile, we're not left or right swiping, we're not collaborating in a dynamic way where Slack or collaboration systems like Symphony or Teams are in our life in a much more dynamic way. We will work differently. My theory is it takes a generational shift because it's just people that don't know a different way to work. The iGen, which is behind the millennials, will be coming through as workers. They will be coming through as leaders. When that generational change happens, that's when you will see the consumer technologies we have in our hands today will actually be in the futures markets and in the swaps markets.